So where does one go from here? Yeah, well, where do we go from here? Where does one go, one being me, go from here? It doesn't go anywhere.
It all depends on what one is looking for. No, see, what one looks for changes, because it all depends on how the experiencing structure that we have is generating a demand of a perceived goal or experiencing even more to solidify the structure of belief, faith or idea, which is the main ingredient of keeping the information structure going. Are they are they strengthening and fortifying itself to the experience and demanding of the more experience, or it's fundamentally changing the experience and the awareness and the reality of our expectations, all these things put together. Is it radically reformed or changed to something which has a very different modus operandi, in a sense that it's not expecting the way it used to expect earlier. Maybe it's not demanding any experience, because all experience are somehow kind of a merry-go-round things, You experience a happiness, you want to find out the source which creates that happiness, and you reinforce the source and modify it more and more to have more and more similar experiences. And then once such thing is perceived by the whole system, it breaks down. It knows that it's kind of a exercise in futility to demanding more and more experience. So where one goes, depending on how the whole structure, to me, it's radically transformation. Like the whole structure transformed into a way that it's very surprising that it's not even asking the similar kind of demand or a rewarding anymore. So depending on that status of the information structure and its resultant demand, one can expect an answer which would satisfy where one wants to go. Like, should I, maybe there is something, maybe I haven't done enough, maybe I haven't found a right person who could ignite me or who could radically transform me, or was very powerful, like some top-notch spiritual guru who can do a spiritual transmission and energize my system in such a way that I would experience a new truth, new phenomenon, and new something. So if something like that, so accordingly the action of where one wants to go, the answer will come accordingly. And it can all happen that everything falls flat on its face and everything changes, the whole structure of asking questions and finding the reality of our existence so deeply and fundamentally that the futility of such questioning never occurs anymore.
Right.
So,
I mean, the main definitive change or definitive answer that I, in a situation I can describe is my move from New York to Maryland. It was very sudden. I thought I would live there forever for the rest of my life and, retire there and grow old there and everything. That's it.
To me, there are two aspects. One, it changed your, it became much more bearable for you. You know, I see your demeanor, I see your modus operandi. You are so much better control on your day-to-day living and so less anxious about next day what kind of boss you are going to face and things like that.
Right. Oh,
You know,
yeah.
all these things have
Yes.
completely transformed.
Yes.
I mean,
So job
the
issue.
job issues are radically changed.
And also personal living. I just could not fathom living in New York alone anymore. Had my family been there, or some support system, then I would have lived there. But before that, I could live alone. Was fine. But suddenly,
Everything changed.
everything changed. So it's very interesting. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm trying to analyze it. I feel comfortable, as you said. Wherever I am, I feel comfortable in that.
I see a huge shift in your day-to-day anxiety level is way down. You know, the health aspects, yes, you have to take care of it anyway. You are a doctor yourself, so you know that this is very important. And
But in that aspect, I do. I mean, I'm not going overboard or going nuts about it, but I try to be responsible, as we all try to. Something bothers you, eliminate that from your life or your diet or whatever. I try to make those interventions, but something, it's like a symptom shifts from one system to another system, right? If I address one thing, then something else pops up, then something else pops up, then something else. So that makes me feel that maybe there's a profound or fundamental issue that's lingering, which is not being addressed.
could be the reason for its showing its effect in terms of this kind of
Symptoms.
physical
Exactly.
disturbance. Yeah. Well, quite possible. You know, we are. I mean, I definitely believe that it goes hand in hand. You know, like the human mind and physical existence are so intertwined. Everything affect one and the other. You know, the health affects mind, mind affects health, and they are like really intertwined. So, yes, if something happens that radically changes the psychological aspect of our existence, it ought to reflect in a very definitive way in all physical systems.
Right.
You know, it's its nature.
Right. So that's the only thing which still remains with all the strength and might, that longing or that wish, whatever you want to call it, desire, whatever, for that balance, for that kind of grounding.
Stability.
Yeah, that stability.
That grounding, yeah.
That functioning, that to be spontaneous. So yes, that still remains. I don't know of any moment in my awake life that I don't think about it or it doesn't spontaneously come up. So, and that of course after a while that kind of bothers me or agitates me. But that brings me here.
Yeah, I don't want to ask anybody to analyze such thing, and see whether one can go to the bottom of things and find out any anything that changes the entire perspective. I only wish that something definitively shifts in one's perspective, or rather workings of the whole system in such a way that it gradually shifts the perspective. So I don't know whether I'm making any sense or not, but I just don't want to even make it very vague and complicated. It's just it's not knowledge game basically. So
does knowledge have any role in it? Any indirect?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge has definite contribution. Appropriate knowledge and discrimination can always give a helping hand towards the appropriate disposition of the system. And being aware of even the possibility of such a change itself is a major aspect of the knowledge. Like, to me, being with him and watching him gave me a lot more confidence than trying to ask him what he knows. You see, there are two different aspects altogether. What he knows, if I can transfer that knowledge onto me, was less important to me than the awareness that such a personality exists where things functions in this way gave me almost like a inoculation to the system which falls back to negative thinking and basically feeling sorry and frustrated and depressed. So it's like that energizes system, that awareness, to make the system more aware and careful about this kind of negative feedback of the loop that ultimately takes us down the road to misery and sorrow. So that way, it's not the analysis of how deeply one knows about things, but how much one is aware of the possibility of a change can really help. And because there was a living possibility, so that was like a real booster as far as my knowledge game is concerned. Because I was sure I knew more than him.
In what aspect?
Aspects of physics, chemistry, biology, and everything else.
Because you're a person.
Yeah,
of science.
because it was my profession,
Right.
and I was
Of course.
studying it well.
Yeah.
But still, about the life and living, two different aspects. Life and living, he has like earth-shaking confidence. I could not generate that confidence through my knowledge. You see, there are two different aspects. You know, one is really grounded, even though he's not playing in the knowledge game. The other one is always trying to play the knowledge game and trying to find out what is more convincing, what is more important,
Right.
what outsmarts other person in the knowledge game.
That's the typical.
That's a typical knowledge game, and he was not playing that game at all. So
Right. I mean, was he born with such personality, like some strong conviction, like confidence?
that's a good question, and I feel yes.
Because there are many personalities,
Yes.
even they say wrong things, but they say with
With
such conviction.
full certainty,
Yeah.
conviction. And I mean, he had a lot of wrong convictions, you know, like going to temple and giving Hanuman all this coconuts, you know.
He did.
Promise, you know,
Yes.
kind of. That's what he told. So he was deeply religious. I mean, he had that
Before,
before, you know. Then, of course, he just completely imbibed the whole history of human conditioning from a complete different perspective. Like the role of the belief structure completely crumbled, you know. It had no value.
And he even followed JK, you know.
Solid, because JK was completely denying all this as a
So, right.
condition.
That was the
you know.
closest to. You know.
Closest to. Actually, it opposed his view, because he was very strong in his belief structure, and JK was completely poo-pooing the whole belief structure, and that shook him up deeply, you know. So, and when something really took place, it was the organizational effect of the existence rather than knowing the equation of human being and its relationship with Mother Nature. That he was always very humble and straightforward. I really don't know much about life. Not much, I don't know anything about life, basically.
So a lot of people with genuine interest and intention were close to him.
Yes,
Moved
of
with
course.
him.
I mean, otherwise, most people who ended up very close to him, other than few individuals, were seriously pursuing matter spiritual. Seriously. I mean, they have gone to Himalaya to Kanyakumari, and then finally ended up at his doorstep. You know, there are many people like that. So, yes, and that's the answer.
But did they all experience that transformation, being living in his presence?
It is, I don't know how and what, but I can definitely say that something like that, one cannot miss it. Like, if you are affected completely deeply, there is no mistake about it. What you expect out of it is your conditioned response. If you think you are becoming a god and a guru,
Right. Yeah.
then you will be very disappointed.
Right. I think if you've really reached the balance, then you won't have that notion anymore, and you won't be
I think
disappointed.
this is more accurate description.
Right, so that's-
it's like the sign of a stable individual
Right.
who is not living in a pipe dream.
Right, right. because everything refers to me, is when in regular day, when I encounter these thoughts and emotions and this agitation, frustration, so I ask myself, what am I expecting? What do I expect from that? This
Very
everything will be
valid
removed.
question.
I'll be like floating in a cloud of bliss or whatever.
So
But
the
it's
thing
not
is
that.
that is what I don't know. You will know it better than I read. That as we grow, this imbalance of the image-making structure that is very alive and important for young people to have the surge of expectation and aspirations and goal and whatever you call it. Comes down and stabilizes as the people grow older, because it both sides of the brain begins to balance.
Mm-hmm.
They become more grounded, and this kind of heavy goal-oriented desire and aspirations finds proper realistic disposition.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a couple of things about that.
Because I read it, like
Yes,
our
no,
brain really changes over the
But I
time.
can feel for myself over the years, those idealistic aspirations and goals. I can do this, I can do this, and those have
and
settled.
having
Uh-huh.
surge of activity, or feeling terribly depressed for not meeting such
Right. So
expectations.
it becomes a little more realistic, like
Yeah.
this expectation.
As you
And
started,
also the body also changes. So what you can or cannot do with the body,
completely changes.
it changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So that basically overall, it finds more grounding.
Right. So if all those meditative exercises, breathing exercises, they gear towards bringing you closer to that aim, or to make you more grounded and balanced. If one does some exercises to balance the activity of the left and the right brain, stabilize them, you think it'll be easier to reach that balance?
I think we hope that we could generate certain ways and means to achieve the balance. But to me, it is more like you can do everything, but it has to find the appropriate rhythm for itself to strike the balance. The probability of falling into this kind of realistic mode is very similar to a healthy individual as they grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But I don't mind anybody is doing anything towards such disposition. I don't see any problem about it. But I believe that the best thing is to give appropriate chance to the system so that it finds its own balance and appropriate energy to strike that change and brings about that change. I don't think by doing physical exercise, meditation or breathing technique and things like that can guarantee to end up in such disposition. Or
So just
to me, it's different. I don't know. I cannot sell those things. To me, it is like it's absolutely. To me, it's sure that my interaction with that man brought about this. I have no doubt about it, but I cannot prove it.
Right.
Somebody else will tell that you know what, even if you wouldn't have seen this in your life, these things would have happened to you.
Because you were destined to have
Something like that.
Something
So
like
I
that.
have no answer for Sachin. But the fact is, it didn't happen. It happened only when I was begin to interact with him. That's all. So whether it is a coincidence or it's a definitive science, I could never answer such questions. To my mind, it is true. So it is my functional reality. Okay? And it is my point of view. But is it like theory of gravitation? No.
Yeah, I was going to say, you being a physicist,
Yeah.
you know, you of course very empirical, everything you prove.
I try. That's why I try to look those things in terms of scientific observational.
Right.
But at certain point it fails. I had to fall back to phenomenology in a sense that maybe doctor cannot find anything wrong in me, but I am sad. He says it is impossible. You cannot be sad, but I am sad. What's the science? They can't find anything. All medical tests, everything fails. But the last word is, I am sad.
Well, that's a subjective experience. So.
Yeah. So it's like that. My science is handy only up to certain extent. After that, it's my functional reality. That's how I felt that my depression and my anxiety, my drive, everything evaporated out, you know. And because I felt this in me. And obviously, he was very deeply connected with it. That's why it was there, always there, that feeling about it. And is there a science behind it? I don't know. I can't.
I know, because being a scientist, you may have thought or tried
I
to...
thought. I mean, I came up with those kind of theories of the effect of negative personality, effect of disease, effect of disorderly person affects you. But the converse could be true too. Like it can hugely affect you in such a way that it can restructure your thinking pattern and neurobiological circuitry, that it begins to function in a radically different way.
Right. I'm sure there is a neurobiological impact.
Yeah.
If you do a before and after analysis of...
Yeah, something like that. So what I feel is that it is the nature of the system which seeks a balance, and finding that balance gets some very strange input to itself, and it started generating such effect towards itself and heals itself. That's the only way I could articulate it. That's it, at the best. But do I have a quantitative analysis of which neurotransmitter is activated, which gland is activated? No, I didn't do any such experiment.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why early you used to talk about the glands and those
definitely things. They're all involved. That's what I'm telling you. It's like I don't want to make it like a immaculate conception or anything, any such thing, but what I'm saying is that obviously there is some change, because as you know, they are the center of a definite endocrine orchestra. It just constantly they are in operation, and many of those glands are heavily involved in our immune system, our seeing things as is or as is not, depends on how accurately those things are operating the way they are supposed to operate. And if it is not, something can change and bring that In fact, I even hazard opinion that change is radically, physiologically change, like the immune system and glandular system of a woman changes the moment they conceive. The whole thing. Sure, mammalian glands oozes milk because it's necessity. Okay? So there are certain, that kind of triggering order possible.
Possible, but
Yeah.
nothing is proven.
Nothing is proven.
Right.
But I felt a definitive way inside my body, and some places there is some external sign of activity. I mean, like almost like activation, it's like, I saw it. I mean, there was something on my forehead just popped up, and overnight, like a burning sign of a circle here, and superlative activity on my head and on my neck and in the stomach patches, all kinds of things, it's like some firing is going on, and the whole body was in different kind of modus operandi. And
was it painful or troublesome?
yes, certain aspects were very troublesome.
Okay.
The trouble was in a different way. Trouble was, I am driven thinking wise, because that was my profession. I had to think it through to produce a solution. All my problems, I have to think it through. I have to think over and over. And that was causing a disturbance which I was used to. But after these changes, it was not allowed for that kind of continuous thinking. So there was a violent reaction. The moment I was very worried and thinking, some kind of energetics violently opposed that, and that translated in me as some life force is ebbing away.
Because you were accustomed to
think, and then this is like stopping. It is like some choking sensation, which is psychologically like not allowing me to think, and that signals a kind of a pain in the body. But and I told this to Yuji, and he said to not bother about it. It's like, if it is really that bad, you will know soon. If it is not, it will pass, And indeed, at the end of each cycle, I felt more vital, although I couldn't think. My chain of thinking just abruptly is like you want to tell somebody something, and that person is not allowing you to tell. You begin to feel uneasy, restless, like our sense of self wants to say, and you are not allowing me to say. They fight, people fight.
So it was like a violent act.
It
wasn't like a smooth transition.
No, it's not. So that was inside, and there was no third person involved. It's me, my vigorous thinking structure is not allowed to pursue, which is almost like a signal which tells something is coming to an end. And the chemical repertoire of the body is such that it responds that way, like somebody is choking you.
Right, it's like a threat because
It's like a threat.
seems like the
You
end
know,
of
anxiety.
life. Yes.
People, when anxiety comes,
Yes.
they can't breathe. They
Yes.
feel like they need ventilators.
The
The
threat
anxiety.
to the end of you, as
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
yourself.
exactly. So what is the anxiety-driven, like, panic attack? You know, so it was internally. I was not involved consciously. I was only tried to think and find a solution, and I was not allowed to.
But did you have physical symptoms of a panic attack or any kind of
Yeah, I'll be sweating and like
shaking,
shaking and palpitation, all these things, and then I'll go into a deep sleep for how long I don't know. Next day when I get up, it's like a new world. You know, it's like something cleaned up itself. You know, and I felt the whole system became much healthier. You know, my digestive system became healthier. My appetite is more, but I eat less and feel more energy. You know, eat less, more energy. You know, it's like as if the system is effectively utilizing the energy from the food source and not allowing it to drain through anxiety and other worries. You know, so because once those things are being taken care of, you feel more vital.
Right.
You know, so the depressing thoughts were very little, and
no energy waste,
no energy waste by myself. You know, so not and I was so because of this this is the part of the awareness and the background, because I put the whole thing on him, and so it created an enormous good feeling.
When you say you on him, that means you talked to him or you attributed everything to him?
Mostly I attributed, and I was 100% aware that he was aware of it, and he was very careful about me, keeping an eye on me and things like that. I absolutely know that, you know. So that means I know that he is aware of this, that something is going on and it's not dangerous. Whatever. I mean, if I would have died, I wouldn't come back and blame anybody. So it was pretty different. So I attributed not blindly, but I had reason to attribute it. Okay, so and the whole thing moved in its own way. But I learned that this is nothing to do with the way we learned about the yoga, spirituality, power, vibhuti, all these things. That's not it. I mean, maybe I was in a different regiment altogether. I was not in that. Maybe in that they gain power, control people, become guru of 2,500 disciple. I couldn't find any power in me. You know, I couldn't materialize anything, leave alone golden watch or anything. And no power. I found it's totally ridiculous even to, totally different. It's different. It's nothing to do with the way we learnt about the spiritual and religious power of human. It's very different functional aspect.
But do you feel that still there are people who find that balance while following those paths which are like traditionally been around for years and centuries?
It's quite possible.
It's
the human brain is very versatile. it can strike a balance in various ways. You know, I mean, I see people. Why would somebody follow something 40, 50 years unless they get some benefit out of it? You know?
Some kind of calming effect or stabilizing.
You know, placebo is faith-driven thing. Of course, gives a positive effect.
Yeah.
You know, and also teaches you not to think negatively. Faith will repair you. You know, the cycle of hope keeps it going. I don't have to hope anything.
Yeah, I mean, I can see some people around me believing in a religion.
Yeah,
generic,
sure.
any religion.
Any religion.
But they've calmed down,
Yeah.
become very sweet and humble, calm. And they carry that belief and that idea of heaven.
I don't
heaven
find
and all
anything
that.
wrong
Yeah.
in it. You know.
Well, that's,
So,
I don't either.
see, the thing is that what I found in whatever I came to an functional aspect is that I have a definitive point of view about perceiving the reality through a human brain is only what a human thinks. That's it. If you think there is a God, to you there is a God. It has no meaning to a next person who is a mathematician or an engineer. Because his brain and its functional reality is totally different. And I am very aware of such existence. And so I don't discriminate these things, and I am not much different from them. Only thing is I am extremely aware of the point of view that generated in my brain is a functional reality. And I have no qualm about it. I have no desire to prove anybody, or nobody has any power to convince me other than my point of view, which is functional in me, in the realm of image. There is none. So, do we know everything about human? No.
Everything about the universe?
No.
But if there's no, I'm not saying God in the traditional sense, operating power as such for the universe.
Which is operating in all of us.
Right. Do you
it.
think there's...
there is no external agency
there's
for
no
such
external agency.
It's the operational aspect of all life form has its intelligence through the beginning of time, as we ascribe as the beginning of time.
And
my rational brain tells me that it is more probable that scientists are right as far as the beginning of the universe and its progression is concerned than all the religious people. That's my point of view, which is what is bound to think that way. Then my mother, who thinks that God has in his hand created everything. And Lord Rama is a reality, and Shiva and Allah, all are absolute reality.
So your brain doesn't think of even a possibility.
No.
It's possible.
Because this is how this brain has come down to. And I have no problem about the existence of other brains, other logic, whatever logic or faith or anything that comes. But that doesn't disturb me at all.
So you're not like, that maybe there is, maybe there isn't. No. It's like there isn't any God.
There is nothing. In me, we will always rationally can approach up to a certain point. After that, it's all unknown.
Right. So that unknown, so it doesn't...
I do not confirm that unknown into anything known or abstract or otherwise.
Right. So you're not denying or confirming these.
I'm nothing.
Right.
Yeah. And I know where it comes from. It's just a belief structure.
Right.
That's it. Is it mine is not a belief structure? You can say that too.
Right.
Yeah. So I have no quarrel about it.
So
but I have no doubt whatsoever that there is some governing factor that this brain can perceive. The brain can perceive only through knowledge, nothing else. The knowledge and the suggestion of such a thing can create an alternative reality through images and experiences. And that's it.
Right.
That does not mean that it will pass through the verification that I call is reality.
It'll just be an idea, just a concept.
Just a functional.
Your brain is just capable of that.
Exactly.
It's not capable of perceiving anything.
Nothing. It is like somebody is thinking about the working of its own brain. Thinking itself is the after effect of the activity of the brain. Anything that appears in us as a signature or proof of an existence of a supernatural power, super existence, is culture fed us.
Well, yes, but over the centuries, as we not to become too like philosophical, but it affects us. That's why I'm discussing.
Because we are because the information processing of the human brain came to such an extent that we definitely now know there is something called placebo.
So while searching for answers over the centuries, like man became cognitively more aware.
Yeah.
So where are we coming from? Why are we here? Where do we go? So those kind of questions, right? Genuine questions.
Sure. 100%
So people genuinely
do whatever they answer, they get it. It is not free from the knowledge game.
Right. It's just a concept.
Yeah.
It seemed to work at that time, make them more cohesive or more, tame them more or calm them more.
To me, there is one test which creates an impossibility of a real-time time travel backward to see where we were. It's impossible. It will take 80 years going forward to stop and going backward. So the brain is not capable of doing such a thing. And then there is no experimental evidence that lives behind in the fossil structure of existence of such a thing.
Right, there is no evidence. There is no. It's just in the mind. Mind you can create and
because as you know that something happened to our brain, and in that we have a time-sharing mode of operation, perceiving the universe and thinking about the universe. It's like parallel processing. Through that parallel processing, we have created an imaginary world. Thought conceives of such imaginary world all the time. Something that comes to exist is what happens at that moment. And that's it. So, thinking about and perceiving a reality of such superpower or super existence of something is always in the framework of words and images. Can that do something to brain? Yes, that can. That can bring about a different kind of adjustment so that partly you become a very positive person. There is something lands in you where you feel happy, you feel exotic, you feel like loving everybody. All kinds of things can happen. So that does not tell me, that only tells me it is the nature of our brain rather than the existence of a superlative universe or a being which created the universe. That doesn't tell me ever. It is our lack of knowledge of the organizational aspect of the brain which produces consciousness and the part of his self-consciousness where we are capable of thinking and perceiving and creating an imaginary universe. The lack of deep knowledge about that is only reflected in terms of perceiving such thing. If we could even know deeper and deeper and deeper, probably there is a lot more powerful, mysterious ingredient of the workings of the brain and the nature itself we can discover that would dispel this kind of mysterious.
Or even the need for those myths and those projections.
That is what exactly I was about to say. That is more probable. And why? So now you see why I think that my point of view is superlative as far as human growth and human harmony is concerned. Because I am not solidifying an imagination by denying the mystery that presents. I'm ascribing everything to a solidified image, and I'm not allowing such possibility that it is mysterious, I don't know. If I disregard that image, and if I allow myself to be open to the possibility of some of the unknown might just exhibit itself, its workings, I would be a lot more stable and powerful. Powerful in a sense, what is power to me is not to destroy other, but to have a stability which is unmistakably superior when it comes to information disturbance. Like somebody tells me that God is going to destroy you or God is going to reward you, has no meaning to me. Absolutely, it has no effect. That doesn't mean that I am more powerful than God, because to me, it has a definite definition altogether. I do not need to invoke such definition at all. When I fall into that space where I don't know anything, it doesn't have those images and imagination and the workings and the disturbance at all.
It doesn't have that insecurities and those questions.
Zero. The fear of disregarding that thing is zero.
Right.
Or reward of having such a thing to feel good is also zero. Either way, it does not affect me at all. Because I fall to a place that I know that I don't know. And it does not disturb at all.
But there's some kind of a confidence and
absolute confidence, because it is that confidence that brought me here after taking this genetic line for billions of years. The chance of my existing at this moment of time is so slim to none. That I am existing and talking to you itself is a tremendous achievement of power of life itself. So my not knowing has all this extreme stability. It is exactly opposite to the inferiority complex that comes out of not knowing.
Right, because you always want to present yourself as
a knowledgeable person.
Knowledgeable.
So if somebody says that I don't know anything about God, it's a laughing matter about me. Zero. And that's not a confidence that anybody gave it to me. Yes, I moved along with an individual whom I observed is walking with that kind of stability all the time. As a living example of such order and stability, which does not require any such imagination, invention to gather strength to survive. So I have no problem And I always tell that just because my grandma believed in God, and I know to me it is an illusory aspect that she converted into a reality, does not make me feel that my grandma is stupid and I love her less. It has no effect. My love, affection, and admiration for my grandma does not change with such knowledge. Her belief structure has no effect as far as my affection is concerned.
So you still have that affection for like a visceral connection
Yes,
with the family.
exactly.
It's not disconnected.
Absolutely
That's
not.
not a thought
That's
concept.
it's not a thought process at all. It is the same, and if not more. I don't judge on that basis at all. It is there, it is constant, it's more powerful than ever.
So all the human elements, human emotions, feelings,
All are present, but its impact is very different. If somebody tells me something, because I process the information just the way I am talking to you. Obviously, it has some meaning, otherwise, we won't be talking like that.
Right.
Same way, because if somebody tells me something, I understand the meaning and its effect is there on me, but it is that itself. It does not have any rippling effect at all. Even if my family or my brothers, my sisters, my friends, whatever, and this is not a empty remark. I tremendously feel for them. I do anything that is possible for me to do. And I have no negative feeling about anybody. Zero. And one most vital and important aspect is there is no lingering animosity with anybody. Suppose somebody really behaved badly with me and told me vicious words and things like that. There is no feeling of animosity. If they come and talk to me as if nothing has happened. So to me, it's like, it is surprising when I see the people who are so upset is that somebody did harm to their family member, and instead of 20 years of prison, they got 10 years of prison and their life falling apart. It's very surprising to me because I don't feel like that anyway. It is like, it is not that I have the great forgiveness. It's not that. I think a healthy brain functions that way.
how do your family members perceive you? Do they
Just
perceive
the way all people perceive each other.
Just regular, they will say, oh, he's this or he's that, just the regular way.
Just the regular way. If I don't reciprocate certain emotions, then I know I was also like that. So I know exactly. And there is no feeling of negation here at all. Zero.
And also because these emotions, negativity or those reactions come up, of course, more with close family members.
More.
Because when we are with...
Because my brother might think that what kind of a brother is that who never calls, never asks me how are you. I know that.
What do you say? Because I can use that too.
If they see me, they will know how much affection I have for them. And any time, anything that requires attention and taking step, I never deny such thing. I do whatever. Now, if my brothers say, why don't you come and stay with us, that will be healthy. I can't do that.
So how do you get out of that?
I didn't get out of that. My system doesn't allow. Like, I am so vigorously talking to you. If somebody comes and talks about family member, my system completely cool. Now here it is open, there it is encapsulated. It's for itself. It's like a turtle, you know. Anything negative, it just goes into a shell. Everything is positive, green grass and all, it moves around, eats.
But do they say you don't visit, you don't interact?
Yeah, they say many things. I mean, not all. The closer the family member, the resentment is more. I am totally helpless about it.
So practically when they ask you, come visit us or stay with us when you go to India.
I don't.
So
I go visit them, but I don't stay with them.
What excuse do you make?
There is no excuse. I can't.
You just say you can't.
I can't. You know, it's changed. At 5 minutes of talk, that's all over. I'm not interested. But here, you see, I can talk like this forever. So it all depends on the type of interest that generates, you know. And I have no reason to justify my action. So I know it looks certain from certain disposition, it looks indifferent and selfish, but I can't help it. You know, I'm a dog. I can't function like a horse.
I mean, if you were too involved, people would say you're controlling and dominating.
Exactly.
There's no.
I have zero. You can ask the whole universe. I just don't want to change anything in anybody. I don't want to control. I don't want to impose. I don't want to do anything. This doesn't have this thing.
But you seem to have a lot of passion towards your friends. And
like you.
Like all of us.
All of us. Yes,
you take like hours.
Because what happened is, it's like
that?
we're animal. We respond, you know. You pat the danger, it will come.
You're patting me now?
No. No, I'm just telling you, know. As the one day, the old man told, it was so funny. You know, even a dog knows where the home is and who is its master. So what? Have you ever heard Iji telling?
Yeah.
He told me.
He told you. I know.
That's what Bulle Shah also says. Kutte tathon utte. कि कुत्ते जो हैं आपसे, they're superior to you because
They know.
they can smell their master and they stick close to the master. They found the master.